program. Today is a very special day because we are starting with the new theme for BhagavatSanga. We are starting with a new theme, which is prayers of Nagapatni. These are the beautiful, comes in the pastime of subduing Kaliya in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16, from verse 33 to 53, sorry. And today, His Grace Satya Sara Prabhu has very graciously accepted to start the theme. Prabhu will be explaining the mood in which these prayers were recited by Nagapatni. So it's our fortune to listen from Prabhu today. Hare Krishna Prabhu, over to you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you all for joining. So today, as Mataji said, we are going to discuss the prayers of Nagapatnis from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16, entitled Krishna Chastises the Serpent Kaliya. So I would like to start with verse 34. I was very inspired to speak from this verse. And we will cover some important concepts spoken by Nagapatnis. They are very scholarly. So we may not be able to cover all the concepts, but some concepts from the prayers, they offered the prayers in glorification of Krishna. So with that, so let's please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'm going to read this sloka. Radha Damodar Prabhu will share. So text 34 of 10th Canto, Chapter 16. So it's different meters we can use to recite this, but I'm going to use this meter. Anugrahoyam bhavata krito yino dando satam te kalo kalmasapaha yaddanda sukatvam amushya dehina krodo piteno grahaheva sammataha. So one more time. Anugrahoyam bhavata krito yino dando satam te kalo kalmasapaha yaddanda sukatvam amushya dehina krodo piteno graheva sammataha. One more time. Anugrahoyam bhavata krito yino dando satam te kalo kalmasapaha yaddanda sukatvam amushya dehina krodo piteno grahayeva sammataha. Beautiful sloka. Translation. So Nagapatnis are speaking this prayers, the verse to Krishna in glorification of him. So the translation is, what you have done here is actually mercy for us. Since the punishment you gave to the wicked certainly drives away all the contamination. Indeed, because this conditioned soul, our husband, is so sinful that he has amused the body of a serpent, your anger toward him obviously to be understood as your mercy. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Sakshurun Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langete Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurundina Taranam. So this verse is, as I said, beautiful verse, and is one of the series of verses spoken by the Nagapatnis, or the wives of Kaliya, to glorify Krishna and plead for the mercy for their husband. But they're actually doing that by praising the Lord. If you see, that's the theme. If you see the prayers, they're actually pleading to the Lord by praising him. That's a strategy. By praising the Lord, by showing the good fortune of their husband in getting chastised by the Lord. So that's the strategy they apply. They're glorifying the process of getting the mercy of the Lord. So before we look into the prayers, the concepts spoken in the prayers of Nagapatnis, let's briefly discuss the pastime, Krishna subduing Kaliya pastime. It's a most celebrated, one of the most celebrated pastimes of Krishna, actually. So briefly, Krishna used to go with his covered friends and his brother Balaram and cows to the bank of the Jamuna river to tend the cows. So one day on summer day, very hot, when all the covered boys and cows were in the field, they all were become very thirsty and they want to drink water. So they all went to the Jamuna river and they began to drink the water. So at that time, there was a very great demon, the Kaliya, the serpent, the 1,000-hooded Kaliya was living in the Jamuna, and the river had been poisoned by Kaliya. So when the boys and cows who drank from it, the water, suddenly they all fell down and unconscious, they appeared dead. So Krishna, when he saw this, he got very emotional, seeing his friends unconscious, and Krishna, being the supreme personality of Godhead by his Achintya Shakti, he just glanced upon them, his covered friends and the cows, and he revived them. They all came back alive. Then, so Krishna got very angry at Kaliya, because when you offend the devotee of Krishna, Krishna doesn't care much. But when you offend his devotees or you hurt his devotees, Krishna cannot tolerate that. So he got very angry at Kaliya. That's the first reason. Second is Kaliya also polluted the waters of the Jamuna river. And he polluted in such a way that the poison is so powerful, it had completely destroyed the vegetation in that area. So that's the second reason Krishna got very angry at Kaliya, because he's just, causing disturbance to the environment, is polluting the environment. So then Krishna decided to punish Kaliya. He said that, okay, enough is enough. Now I need to punish him. We learn from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's mission in this world. It's a threefold, right? The famous verse, Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha duskrutam, dharma samsthapanarthaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. Millennium after millennium, I descend in this material world to accomplish three things. Paritranaya sadhunam, to protect my devotees, sadhus. Vinashaya cha duskrutam, to vanquish all undesirable elements and establish dharma samsthapanarthaya. So, as you see, one of the goals of the Lord is to vanquish all undesirable elements, vinashaya cha duskrutam. So therefore, he decided to vanquish Kaliya. He is undesirable. So he climbed up a tree on the bank of the river Jamuna, and he tightened his belt and he jumped into the poisonous river. When Krishna jumped into the water, the river overflooded its banks as if a big, very large object fallen into it. So and it made a big noise also. So hearing the noise made by Krishna in the water, Kaliya understood that someone has entered his home. And he was very angry, because Kaliya is generally angry serpent, very envious. And he got very angry. Okay, somebody has come, now I'm going to kill him. So he came in front of Krishna to fight. So when he came in front of the Lord, Kaliya did not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thought that it's a small boy who came into these waters to disturb me. I'm going to fight with this boy and I'm going to kill him. But he did not know this Lord is invincible, the most powerful. So Kaliya felt angry within his heart and he grabbed Krishna with his coils. So then, seeing Krishna in the coils of Kaliya, Krishna's friends and covered boys and other residents of Vrindavan were standing on the bank of the river Jamuna. They're stunned with fear, because Krishna was their whole life. His life of life, and his life and soul for them. When they saw Krishna apparently overpowered by the coils of the Kaliya, they lost all composure and become very worried about Krishna. So they are Krishna's personal associates. And the family members, they're understood to have been the most exalted devotees in the universe or in the entire existence. They become very worried about the Lord. Then Krishna understood, okay, now I need to do something miraculous. So Krishna, being the most graceful dancer we know, immediately released himself from the coils of Kaliya and jumped over the hoods of the serpent. And Kaliya said, he performed a most enchanting dance, jumping from one hood to the another wood, because Kaliya had 1,000 woods, and beautifully dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and Kaliya could not do anything. So when all these covered boys and the Rajabasis, the residents of Vrindavan, they saw this scene, they become very joyful. Because so Krishna is, the lotus feet of the Lord is completely, dancing on the heads of Kaliya. So when Krishna started to dance on the heads of Kaliya, it completely drained out all the physical strength that Kaliya had. Not only the physical strength, even Kaliya's pride got completely shattered, because he thought that he is the most powerful serpent, the most powerful demon serpent. But he could not do anything because Krishna was dancing on his head, and Kaliya started to lose his strength, and his pride got shattered, and the poison from Kaliya also completely drained out. At that moment, Kaliya realized that the person who is dancing on my head is not the ordinary person. He's not an ordinary child. He is the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Kaliya understood that. And he was in great pain because Krishna is dancing. So seeing their husband in such a pitiful condition, because the wives of Kaliya, Nagapatnis, came to Krishna with folded hands and prayed to the Lord, oh my dear Lord, so please forgive our husband. Because they never seen Kaliya like this. Kaliya is always arrogant, very strong, and very cruel, very sinful. That's how they have seen Kaliya to be, husband to be. Now they see the Kaliya is in pitiful condition. So they pray to the Lord for the husband. The Krishna is so compassionate. So he forgave Kaliya and he instructed him to go live in the ocean. And he assured that the Garuda would not bother him when he would see the Lord's footprints on his head. So this is the brief, the backdrop, or the pastime behind this, the prayers of Nagapatnis. So here we can see there's a difference between Kaliya and the Kaliya's wives, because Kaliya was a demon and he was fighting with Krishna. He poisoned the waters and he was trying to kill the cowherd boys and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan in that area. And he tried to poison Krishna. He's a demon. But by good fortune, his wives had so much respect for the Supreme Lord. They recognized Krishna to be the Supreme Lord. So they actually did not like what their husband was doing, because he's a demon. However, we see here the whole long prayers in this chapter, they're offering for their husband's behalf. That is the wives of Kaliya pleading to Krishna for mercy for the husband. They also had great compassion for the husband. And they were not hard-hearted persons, even though they didn't like the husband because he is sinful. But they had compassion for him because they are soft-hearted. At the same time, they also understood the husband is a demon, so they are not unrealistic. Important point. Sometimes we become unrealistic due to blind attachment to our loved ones, like the husband or wife or children or whatever. We won't even know what they are doing is wrong. We become unrealistic. But here, Kaliya's wives were very realistic. They know what the husband was. So therefore, even if he died, Kaliya died, then there is no loss for them because he is sinful anyway. But they also noticed that because of the mercy of Krishna, and of course, Krishna subjugated Kaliya. So in fact, Kaliya surrendered to Krishna at the end. He said, I cannot do anything. The Supreme Lord is dancing on my head. So Kaliya surrendered. Since Kaliya surrendered, therefore the wives of Kaliya become very compassionate for Kaliya. That's why they become compassionate. Because Kaliya's attitude has changed and he has become a little bit of a Vaishnava. So you won't surrender to the Lord until there is a Bhakti component in your heart. So that's what Kaliya's wives saw in Kaliya. So therefore they changed their mind. So instead of hating him or condemning him, they ask the Lord for mercy. They see the change of heart in Kaliya. Of course, Krishna gave mercy to Kaliya already before even they prayed to him. Because Krishna did not kill Kaliya. Rather, he made him become humble. In that process, Kaliya demon surrendered to the Lord. So Lord was very merciful to Kaliya. So if you see this, one may wonder, because Krishna generally kills the demons. When he fights with them, he kills them most often times. So one may wonder why Krishna didn't kill Kaliya. So Acharyas answered this. They say that when Krishna sees some qualification in the demons, he won't kill them. He purifies them. He won't kill them. Classic example, Maharaj Bali. Bali Maharaj, he was a demon. He was a demon king. But Krishna, as a Vamanadev, did not kill him. Why? Because he saw the component of surrender in Bali. So instead, Bali became a devotee. Krishna just gave mercy and Bali became a devotee. So therefore, the Lord is very, very merciful. So the Kaliya Leela shows the great mercy, the display of great mercy of the Lord, considering all facts and all conditions of the Jiva and then acting upon that. It's a beautiful display of Lord's mercy. Then the Nagapatnis were astonished. And how did our husband? Yes, he got the mercy. The Krishna saved him. He didn't kill him. So that is there. So they're also wondering how come he got a great benediction of getting his head touched by Krishna's lotus feet. In fact, Krishna danced on Kaliya. This is a extraordinary a mercy of the Lord. Extraordinary mercy, because this mercy is such that, and the position of Kaliya is such that he came in direct contact with Lord's lotus feet. That is the highest attainment in one sense. It is said that even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, has to do so much austerities, tapasya, for a very long period of time, desiring to get such a position, to get the dust of the Lord's lotus feet, because she always sits on the lotus feet of the Lord and massages his lotus feet. She has to do so much tapasya to get that position. But here Kaliya demon was trying to attack Krishna, and kill Krishna's eternal associates. Is getting the association of the Lord's lotus feet. It's very astonishing, because the Kaliya demon is very sinful. But the Lord is showing extraordinary mercy to him by putting his lotus feet on his head. So the Nagapatnis were astonished, and they were wondering also that they spoke a beautiful verse. They says, Tapa sutaptam kim anena purvam nirashtamanena cha manadena dharma atava sarvajana anukampaya yato bhavam stushyati sarvajiva. Meaning, they're wondering maybe Kaliya did some tapasya. Tapa sutaptam kim anena purvam, the previous life. Or in dharma atasva sarvajana anukampaya, dharma in the previous lifetime. He did some religious duties so strictly, without deviation, to get this benediction of the Supreme Lord. So they are just wondering. In the material world, the Lord gives mercy to one and everybody. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. So he is equal to everyone. So he gives mercy to everyone. But unfortunately, many jivas are not ready for it. That's why Lord Chaitanya says that we devotees plant the seed of bhakti in the hearts of the jivas. Bhakti lata bija. Lord gives his mercy freely, but some people's heart will not accept the seed and make the bhakti grow. It's like if the ground is not fertile, then it won't accept the seed and make it grow. Even though the seed is given it won't accept it. Even though the opportunity is given to the Jivas, they won't take it. And they won't make it grow, Bhakti grow. Even if the Lord gives extraordinary mercy to all, people won't take it because they're not ready for that mercy. So therefore, they don't take advantage. So therefore, one has to come up to certain qualification before one takes to Bhakti. So what is the cause of this mercy of the Lord? That is Guru Kripa Prashade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of Guru Kripa and Krishna, one gets Bhakti, the seed of Bhakti. But in case of Kalya, what is the cause of him getting the mercy? So Nagapatnis are wondering, is it a punya? But ordinary punya or pious activities are not going to give that mercy normally, because Lord's mercy is not generated by regular pious activities. Because we know karma is karma. God, good karma breeds sattva gun. That's all you get. You do all this yagna, dana, tapa, and whatever. It gives sattva guna, mode of goodness. That's all it can do. It cannot create bhakti. So then, how do we get mercy of the Lord? The real cause is bhakti itself, devotion itself. The bhakti is generated by bhakti. Bhakti starts by the mercy of the devotees, the association of devotees. So whatever tapasya or dharma, etc. we have done in the previous life may be favorable. Maybe you may be doing charity work. You may be doing some austerities, mundane, religious austerities or whatever. So those things may be favorable for developing detachment from the material world. Yesterday we are discussing in Bhakti Bhushan. You may detach yourself from the material world, or maybe you are developing good conduct. Okay, this is wrong, this is right, and I'll have a good behavior and whatnot. But that does not create bhakti. So the faith which produces bhakti will be produced by association with the devotee, whether in this life or from the previous lifetimes. So that is the ultimate cause of bhakti. So in Nectar of Devotion, we have these steps of bhakti: Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and so on. So Rupa Goswami mentions the steps in bhakti starting with initial faith, Ado Shraddha. It's not even full faith, little bit faith in bhakti, in the Lord. Then Sadhu Sangha happens. Sadhu Sangha means associating with the devotee or devotees. And then you learn about bhakti practice, Bhajana Kriya, which means performing bhakti, chanting, hearing, doing services, all the stuff. So when you continuously do this, then all your anarthas, unwanted things, goes away from your heart. Anartha nivritti. Then you become steady in bhakti, that is nishta. You develop a taste for bhakti, chanting, that is ruchi. Then asakti, you develop a strong attachment for the Lord. Then the bhava comes, the love started to sprout in your heart. Then it becomes intensified in prema, where you see the Lord face to face and have a relationship with him. This is the steps. Now, all these develop from Shraddha, of faith. One of our very powerful acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, says, where does this initial Shraddha come from? Ado Shraddha. He says it comes from Sadhu Sangha, the mercy of the devotee. Then once you have Ado Shraddha by the mercy of the devotee, then what do? You associate more. That's the next step, Sadhu Sangha again. So Sadhu Sangha breeds Shraddha, and Shraddha breeds Sadhu Sangha again. And in that, we start practicing Bhakti, Bhajana Kriya. Then we get purified as we go through the Bhakti process. So the influence of the devotee in the material world is the usual cause of everything. Very, very exceptional cases. Very, 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 very. I cannot say how many very rare cases Krishna himself will do this, give mercy directly. But in most cases, it is Sadhu Sangha. So an example of Lord himself, Krishna directly giving mercy, giving bhakti, is the classic example is Sukadeva Goswami. Because in the home itself, in mother's home itself, somehow or other, he seemed to have received the mercy of the Lord, and he developed attraction for the Lord, even though he was Atmarama. Atmarama means indifferent to the material world and also to the personal form of the Lord. But when he came out of the mother's womb, he was incessantly seeking out to the Supreme Lord. So we have cases of Lord himself is giving out mercy. So that's why I'm giving this example. But in most cases, there must be some previous bhakti activities, sukruti, which are the reason why the Lord gives mercy to a person in the current life. Of course, Lord's mercy is costless, but at the same time, if the Lord irrationally gives out mercy with no rhyme or reason, it appears a little peculiar, isn't it? Practically speaking, in other words, if someone does sadhana for 30 years, meaning complete focus and very good sadhana by controlling the senses and so on, and you don't get anything, but someone just who walks along and gets the perfection in 2 minutes because Lord gave mercy directly, then it looks a little strange. So if Lord is going to act like that, no one will do any sadhana actually. So we cannot say Lord's mercy is completely unreasonable and unpredictable in all cases. So because even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatamam prapadyante tamas tataiva bhajamyaham. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. Again, the very another celebrated pastime, Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda is trying to bind up Krishna. The two factors are needed to bound up Krishna. We learn in this pastime. They're our endeavor and the mercy. Meaning, we have to do some endeavor. We have to put some effort in serving the Lord. Then Krishna responds with mercy. So these two factors to hold Krishna in our hearts. And then Krishna becomes bound up or controlled by the devotee. So definitely in most cases, we do have to exert the effort in bhakti, devotional service. And in rare cases, due to Lord's Kripa Siddhi, we do get the seemingly irrational behavior of the Lord in which he liberates the demons and puts them in the spiritual world. Bewildering, isn't it? Well, that's up to the Lord. Even that is also not irrational, but it appears irrational from our point of view because he liberates the demons, but still devotees get much higher position in the spiritual world compared to the demons because devotees perform very favorable service to the Lord. Anukulyena Krishna Anusilanam. So they get very intimate relationship with Krishna. Though the results look the same, but for devotee, the Lord gives more extraordinary mercy than he gives it to the demons. So anyway, since the Lord was very merciful to Kaliya, the wives of Kaliya also became very compassionate to Kaliya, as I said. And this gave them the opportunity to approach the Lord directly and offer prayers. So in this way, they derive benefit also from glorifying the Lord. Then in this chapter, it is said that Krishna was very, very heavy on Kaliya when he danced on his head. And because other Kaliya was suffering, he says, Krishnasya garbha jagato atibara avasannam. Atibara means extremely heavy. He was a child. He's less than 10 years old when he did this pastime. But he was on the Kaliya's head and dancing. And he becomes so heavy and heavy and heavy. Kaliya could not take the suffering. Yeah, Krishna was a small child. How could he be very heavy? How can the less than 10 years old can be that heavy that the powerful demon could not hold him on his head? But now think about it. But for Mother Yashoda, Krishna was not heavy at all. She can lift Krishna and put him on her lap and feed him milk or throw him in the hair and catch him and play with him. Mother Yashoda was able to do all these things. So we can understand that for the pure devotee, Krishna can be very, very light, like a feather light. But for the demons like Kaliya, he can become impossibly heavy. There's another parallels. Another pastime I would like to strike a parallel here is Trinavarat demon. When he took up Krishna in the hair and tried to drop him from the top, from the above, so that Krishna can be killed, but Krishna would not let him go off him. Krishna's grip was so strong around Trinavart's neck that the demon could not do anything. Still, Krishna was acting like a small child. If you see the pastime, he was small child sitting on Trinavart's shoulders and holding his Trinavart's neck, that powerful demon's neck. And Krishna became all of a sudden very heavy, and Trinavat demon desperately wanted to get rid of Krishna to save his life. And he could not keep Krishna up in the air, and the demon started to fall down to the ground. So Krishna manifested great heaviness even in that pastime. As a small child. So same in Kaliya's pastime, Krishna became very, very heavy. So that's why in the chapter, Sukadeva Goswami says, Krishna Garbha Jagato. Why is heavy? Because he holds the universes within his stomach, in his abdomen, Garbha. He is the heavier than the heaviest. And he is everything combined plus everything extra, or something extra. I'll put it like that. He is everything in Prakriti plus he is beyond Prakriti. Everything is within him. So he is holding the universes in his Garbha, in his stomach. So therefore, if Krishna wants to show his weight, no one can counteract that. But simultaneously, Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, yes, everything is within me, Krishna Garbha Jagato. But he also says, everything is not within me. Interesting. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a very famous verse, Matstani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avastita. Everything is in me, and everything is not in me also. So therefore, Krishna can also be very, very light simultaneously. He can be two things simultaneously. I'll put it like that. So we cannot conceive Krishna. It's inconceivable. But sometimes he literally shows that also, that everything is in him. He showed it to Arjuna. Arjuna, just see, everything is in me. And he showed it to Mother Yashoda. So Krishna is not just be heavier than the heaviest. He can also show that the universes are within him visibly also. That is his great power. It's not simply a metaphor. It can act like a metaphor that Krishna is heavier than the heaviest. But if Krishna wants, he can show that. He can also show that visibly. So nothing is impossible for him. So universes are within Krishna and they're also outside Krishna, bewildering. But according to a relative experience, we can see object can be at one place at one time. Here we can see the universe are inside and outside Krishna. So he showed that to Mother Yashoda. This is inconceivable potency of the Lord, the Supreme Lord. But if you see this, I was thinking about it, but for showing the pastimes, for giving joy to his devotees, for giving relief to his devotees, saving from harassment of Kaliya, and for showing mercy to Kaliya, Krishna displays himself in this way and becomes heavier than the heaviest and dances on the hoods of Kaliya. Just stunning pastime, actually. And just by the weight of Krishna, who looked very small child, Kaliya was defeated. Stunning. Krishna literally danced on Kaliya's head and showed all sorts of graceful movements. And in the meantime, by hitting Kaliya on his head with his feet, that added extra pain to Kaliya. So Krishna's dancing was very graceful, but simultaneously it was a big kick for Kaliya. So in this way, Kaliya was shattered. We can see the beautiful lotus feet of the Lord dancing on top of the Kaliya was very painful for the demon. But the same lotus feet is softer than the softest for gopis. Beautifully gopis pray. They pray that they just wanted to hold Krishna's feet in the chest. This is gopis' prayers. In fact, they are afraid that the hardness of the chest may hurt the lotus feet of the Lord. Think about this. Because Krishna's feet is very, very soft. Here, the same lotus feet of the Lord was so strong for Kaliya demon, and it was causing so much pain for him and crushing him. But here, the gopis, the pure devotees, for them, Krishna's lotus feet is very, very soft and is softer than the chest. So in this way, Krishna has remarkable qualities and remarkable powers. I'm going to put it like this. He has inconceivable powers to reconcile the opposites. You think about it. This is called Achintya Beda Beda principle. The inconceivable oneness and difference of the Supreme Lord. Meaning, put it simply, the opposites can exist within the Lord. So in this way, Krishna displayed his potency and Kaliya understood Krishna's potencies. Because he was the subject of defeat and he was defeated by the Lord. Kaliya then understood that Krishna is very extraordinary and he is the Supreme Lord. This is the realization of Kaliya at the end. But the residents of Vrindavan were joyful seeing Krishna dancing on Kaliya, but they don't see him as a Supreme Lord. They see Krishna as a wonderful and a powerful child who defeated Kaliya. This is how they see. That is the Brajavasis Madhurya Bhav. They don't see the Aishwarya of the Lord. Now, the Kaliya's wives, the Nagapatnis, understood that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He has great powers. So they have this understanding also. But Nagapatnis are not the residents of Vrindavan. So their attraction to Krishna is very different. So they can accommodate Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So therefore, their prayers, if you see Nagapatni's prayers, are like offering the respects to the Supreme Lord. So you see the Aishwarya Bhav predominates permeates the prayers of Nagapatnis. Because they have this clear understanding, the Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And we never see Brajavasis or residents of Vrindavan doing this, offering respects to Krishna as he is the Supreme Lord. Well, sometimes we see gopis pray like that. I mean, say, oh Krishna, you are the Paramatma, they say. Meaning, you are the heart of my heart, your soul of my soul, in that sense. But that is only when they are in distress. They say some things like that. But immediately they forget that kind of thoughts, gopis. But others like the wives of Kaliya, the Nagapatnis, consider Krishna as the Supreme Lord. They say that Krishna, you are very merciful to Kaliya and to us, even though by defeating Kaliya gets pain, and even though the wives are put into distress by seeing the husband getting defeated and suffering, but still you are very merciful to us. But they say this is all your mercy. This is actually a very advanced state. If you look at Nagapatni's prayers, they're being put into distress by seeing the husband getting defeated. The husband is in a pitiful condition. They say that it's a mercy of you, Krishna. This is a very advanced state. Meaning, if one can come to the realization that one's suffering is Krishna's mercy, that's an advanced state. Generally, people blame Krishna when they suffer. So that's why Nagapatnis, they have actually a good qualification for getting Krishna's mercy, because they see the suffering as Krishna's mercy. So if you understand that even the suffering is Krishna's mercy, then we are qualified to get Krishna's mercy. In fact, Brahma confirmed it in prayers of Lord Brahma. This is a very beautiful prayer. Brahma says, Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bhujana eva atma kritam vipakam. It's a very important, beautiful verse. Anyone experiences suffering in this world, then we should look at it as anukampam, mercy. Tattenu kampam. And we also realize that this suffering is atma kritam, meaning self-inflicted. We don't blame others for our suffering. Generally, we blame others only. Or we blame the Lord. In fact, people do that. They blame Krishna, saying, oh Lord, why are you giving me suffering? That's a non-devotee behavior. In other words, the devotees accept the self-created suffering and the law of karma. Whereas the non-believers don't accept the law of karma. So they use this excuse to say that God doesn't exist because it's making me suffer. If he exists, you won't make me suffer. That's their idea. But the same people in happiness, they won't accept God. They won't even care to recognize God. They think that all this happiness is created by me. I did it. It's mine. Now they say it's all self-created. So in suffering, they blame Krishna and they reject Krishna. But in happiness, they forget Krishna. They again still reject Krishna. They think they did everything. This is the mentality of people in the material world. Even devotees are not exempted. Some devotees are like that. And this mentality is not superficial. It is very deep within the soul, within the jiva. This mentality of enjoying and thinking that I am the doer. I did it. In fact, it is so deep that it will continue for billions and billions of lifetimes. It will go on for old Brahma's life. Think about this. Jivas will sit here in the material world and rot with that conception from the beginning of Brahma's life to end of Brahma's life. If we have this mentality of enjoying and I am the doer and not respecting the Supreme Lord or his devotees. They'll sit in this material world for billions of lifetimes. From the beginning of Brahma life to the end of Brahma's life. That's a long time. Then they go into Mahavishnu's body and rest for some time. Then they come out again and start all over again for another Brahma's lifetime. One day of Brahma is approximately 4 billion years, human years. And multiply that by 365. That's 1 year of Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 years. So multiply that by 100. It's a very, very long time. That many lifetimes. So like this, the Jivas go through many lifetimes of Brahma. And this is a very, very long time. And Jivas don't change at all. Still, they won't change. Most of the Jivas will not change. They rot here for billions of lifetimes. It's not like 50% or 20% or 30% of the Jivas get liberated in one lifetime. The quantity of Jivas getting liberated is very, 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 very small quantity. Because they won't change. They have the baggage and they carry it forward the rest of the life. So the living entities are wandering around in many species of life, blindly and aimlessly, according to Shastras. They go up and go down in the species of life. That's why Lord Chaitanya says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona, Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. So when those Jivas, they show little bit faith, the Guru gives Kripa, gives Bhakti Lata Bij to save them from this rotting in the material world for billions of lifetimes. That's a good fortune for the Jiva, because the Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Guru gives that mercy to them, extra mercy, so that they can be saved. That's Kripa. So then the bhakti grows in the Jivas when Guru gives that mercy and gives all kinds of support, so the bhakti can be grown. But until they get the mercy of Guru and Krishna, they simply wander in the material universe with this conception. I want to enjoy and I will strive to enjoy in the material world with whatever body I get. Whatever body I have a warm body, bird's body, or warm in the stool body, or human body, or whatever it is. I want to enjoy. I don't give any respect to the Lord, or we won't even recognize him, or we won't even recognize the people who give mercy. So when we become a devotee and then actually we accept the responsibility for our suffering, that's a big step. No? Generally, we surrender to the Lord in suffering. No? Krishna says 4 times of people come to him. Sukruti knows. One is Artha. So here in Kaliya's case, the suffering is the major cause for his surrendering, because he could not do anything. Krishna was just dancing on his head with so heavy weight. And Krishna was suffering, and then he thought that, I need to surrender to the Lord. He is the Supreme Lord. I will surrender. If he didn't get the pain, Kaliya would not have surrendered to the Lord. So when we do experience, lesson for us, when we do experience suffering in this world, we can do 2 things, the 2 options. We can become hostile to the Lord and rot in this material world, or we can take it as Lord's mercy, By taking it as Lord's mercy is a difficult step for the jiva. Because why? Ego. Because here we accept that the suffering is due to my fault. That's difficult for many, many jivas to accept responsibility for their suffering or for their wrongdoings. That takes great maturity. So Krishna's plan is that he has a system of law of karma. I was talking to in some other forum, to create the realization for the jivas. Yes, it is self-inflicted sufferings. It's not that somebody gave it to you. You created the suffering for yourself. And we learn by going through different acts with the results. So therefore, we will not do certain things and we will learn to do certain other things. So this is the karma experience in the material world. That's how we learn anything in the material world. So when we realize that we are part of the problem, then the cure is possible. Then we begin to change and we try to find a solution. But until then, there is no sense of responsibility. It's hopeless. So law of karma is there for so that's the mercy of the Lord. That's the first step in mercy. The Lord does not show direct mercy. The mercy for all jivas in the material world is karma. That is his form of mercy, general mercy. And karma is very just law, meaning it is not that we will change the law for one person and not the other person. The law is very just. Generally, the jivas are slow learners because they have very, very strong desire to get enjoyment, material enjoyment. So that's why they don't learn. They refuse to take lesson. Even if you teach them, if you tell them many, many times, they still do the same mistake. Why? These jivas have that strong desire to get their enjoyment. Even devotees, you tell them many, many times, they make the same mistake. They have to go through multiple lifetimes for purification. So that's what Krishna says, a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. The verse comes to my mind. He says, Icha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham, pervasive illusion, sarjayanti parantapa, meaning driven by the desire and the hatred, we will become bewildered in this world. The jivas gets bewildered. And because of that, we get pushed into body after body. Hatred is also another aspect of desire. I like this, I want this, I get this. I hate things that prevent me from getting what I like. So desire and hatred are the same thing ultimately. Two aspects of the same thing. And these two things push the jivas in the material world to do sinful activities. Also disrespect the Lord and devotees. These two things impel the jivas to commit violence against another living entity. So therefore, it is difficult for the jivas to learn lessons and change. So it takes a long time for the jivas to change. Gradual elevation through millions of lifetimes. Believe me, you start with the lower species to higher species, to human species. Then you start to practice varnashrama. Then you start from a Sudra. Then you go to become a Vaishya, merchants or business people. Then you become a Kshatriya. Then you become a Brahmana. Then you start to practice Karma Yoga. Then you start to practice Jnana Yoga. Then Ashtanga Yoga. Then you come to Bhakti Yoga and you get liberated. This is a long process. So that's why Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita the quick process that abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. Take a Bhakti process. So when you get a seed of Bhakti, you can develop very, very quickly. So taking responsibility means to understand that we are suffering because of our past misdeeds, and all the laws of God are for my good, for our advancement, and not for harassing us. So therefore, we come to the realization of Atma Kritam Vipakam, Brahma says. All my suffering is self-created. So if I learn, then I can advance. So this is the Lord's mercy. So when we accept the responsibility for our suffering, understanding the law of karma, understand the mercy of the Lord is one stage. The stage two is that we positively worship the Lord. Very important. Yeah, you understand all these things. It doesn't stop there. You start to worship the Lord and serve Him. with your body, mind, and words. Then, so we have proper conduct in the material world, but as far as the relationship with the Supreme Lord goes, we serve him also simultaneously. That combination is such that the Lord shows mercy. The Lord becomes very attracted to that person and shows great mercy to them. Here, you see the Lord was showing great anger towards Kaliya. In fact, Lord's anger is different from our anger. When we show anger, it's simply a frustration of our own desires, material desires. It's not satisfied, we get angry. But the Lord's anger is very different. It's transcendental. It's a mercy. The Lord is showing mercy upon Kaliya. And by that appearance of anger, Kaliya was able to change. There's another beautiful verse Nagapatni spoke, which was quoted by Rupa Goswami in Act of Devotion. He says, Na naka prishtam na cha sarva bhaumam, na parameshtyam na rasadhipatyam, na yoga siddhir apunar bhavam va, vachanti yat pada raja prapanna. Meaning, those who attain the dust of your lotus feet, Krishna, never hanker for kingship of heaven, limitless sovereignty, the position of Brahma or ruler of earth. They are not interested even in the perfections of yoga or in liberation itself. So meaning the devotees who attain the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord do not desire any position in the material world, including position of Brahma. They don't desire yoga siddhis. They don't desire impersonal liberation because they're completely, the heart is sold to Krishna, attached to the Lord. But Kaliya got the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord without doing anything, except he was trying to poison Krishna. So it is a very exalted to get the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. So Kaliya must have done something to get this extraordinary mercy. But if you see, Kaliya was born in mode of ignorance. He was a snake. Snake is in mode of ignorance. Generally, snake is not a good birth because snakes are envious, angry all the time. But though Kaliya was a snake, he got the mercy of the Lord, extraordinary mercy. So what we can learn from this is that in spite of the fact we may have many bad karmas, which might manifest as very bad birth, growing up in a bad environment, lot of suffering, mental and physical. We may have so many bad qualities in our heart, in the material world, but that is not necessarily a disqualification for faith, which produces bhakti. So karma and bhakti don't contradict with each other. So that's the point I want to make. That we can learn from Kaliya's pastime. As long as one has faith, one can practice bhakti even if he's an outcast or the lowest person. But if someone continually indulges in sinful activities, it means more sense gratification. When sense gratification becomes too extreme, it is unfavorable for bhakti. So eventually they lose taste for bhakti and eventually the faith will disappear. So in case of Kaliya, he got some mercy in the previous lifetime. So in the current lifetime, when he came in contact with the Lord, he surrendered by the association of the Lord. Same thing happens to the devotees. Because of the Jiva's previous lifetime mercy, he got the mercy or she got the mercy. In the current life, when they come in contact with the devotees, they just surrender. Generally, demons won't surrender to the Lord, so they get killed by the Lord. But Kaliya was very fortunate, so he surrendered to the Lord due to previous lifetime mercy. So this is one of the qualities of bhakti, that it can appear in anyone regardless of one's material qualification. Faith can appear and then bhakti can appear. And bhakti is indestructible. Under the normal circumstances, it will continue life after life. It doesn't exhaust by one's other activities and experiences. So in this way, the Nagapatnis who are fully knowledgeable, if you read the prayers, I'm just giving some gist of the prayers, but it's beautiful prayers. Who are fully knowledgeable with the Vedic literature, Vedic knowledge. And they knew perfectly that Krishna is the ultimate goal in search for the absolute truth. They were also chaste wives who could not live without their husband. So they prayed unto the Supreme Lord to spare Kaliya. So So thereafter, Kaliya himself, having come to his senses because of the kicks of Krishna's lotus feet, also offered beautiful prayers and begged that Krishna excuse him for his all these inevitable material tendencies that he displayed. He said to Krishna, now you punish me or save me as you desire, because this is Kaliya's realization. He realized Krishna, Supreme Lord, after beaten up so much. So after hearing this, Krishna was very pleased with Kaliya and his wives, Nagapatnis, because they offered beautiful prayers. Then immediately Krishna ordered Kaliya that you must immediately leave this place and go to the ocean and go without any delay quickly. So then after hearing these orders, the Nagapatnis worship the Lord with offerings of so many things, garments, garlands, jewels, sandalwood, lotus flowers, and palatable foodstuff to the Lord. Then, obeying the orders of the Lord, they all left the waters of Jamuna towards the ocean. So this is how the pastime happened, and it's a very, very stunning pastime, and a very lot of things to learn from. But in the interest of time, I just want to stop here. I just covered only 2 or 3 verses, but we can discuss in the next opportunity more verses. So with that, I will stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, that was such a beautiful class. Didn't realize how 1 hour went. Prabhu, you beautifully narrated the pastime, and it was as if like it came in front of the eyes, the entire pastime. And Kaliya was so fortunate that he surrendered and he got the mercy of Lord. And it's not very easy to get. So, and that's Lord's extraordinary mercy, right? And you also very nicely told how, even the opportunity is given, why some people will not accept Krishna. And by Guru Kripa and Krishna, Bhakti will come, and Bhakti will come from the association with devotees. So I have a lot of points here, Prabhu, just saying a few, like, I even like the point that you said Nagapatni's mood was in Aishwarya Bhav, and they are in the advanced stage, even though they were seeing suffering of their husband, but still they were praying to Supreme Lord. And also how, when we are suffering, even though there are 2 phases, we can be hostile to Lord, or we can accept that it is our karma and see it as a mercy of Lord. So very nicely you explained, Prabhu, and also how Lord's anger, Kaliya came because of Lord's anger. So Lord's anger, and he was going through so much suffering, and because of the anger, that mercy he got and bhakti he got. So very, very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful start for our theme, and we will continue from the next week the same theme. Request devotees to continue joining this program and also sign up so we all can read the prayers and also present our realizations. With that, thank you, devotees, so much for joining. I know we had an extra 1 hour class today, extra half an hour, but we really requested Satya Sara Prabhu to explain this prayer. So it is a good context setting and for us to understand the background and mood of the prayers of Nagapatnis. With that, thank you all devotees for joining today. We will see you all next week. Hare Krishna.